In this video, I am going to cover 6 risks of buying an online business. So if you are out there and you're considering buying an established and profitable online business, like the kind of deals that I source and send out every week or so in the AcumenWire newsletter, you should stay tuned here because these are things that are going to help you out. I have seen these risks play out in deals that I've looked at and passed on, or deals that I know people have purchased, and well, I did not speak with them before they purchased it. So yeah, stay tuned here. We're going to cover this list of 6 of them, and I think the last one is really the best, or not the best, but certainly the biggest form of risk. And oh yeah, on that note, if you have not already subscribed to the AcumenWire.com newsletter, that's a newsletter where I send out my selection of established and profitable online businesses that were recently listed for sale. And my selection is businesses that are likely to stand the test of time going forward. They're solid businesses, at least from what I can tell in the description that's published by the broker. So again, if you're interested in acquiring an established and profitable online business, A, watch this video, keep watching till the end on the 6 risks, and B, sign up to the AcumenWire newsletter at AcumenWire.com. Come on over here, you know the drill, put in your email address, click the subscribe button. Then you're going to have to go into your email and confirm your subscription, and boom, you will get online businesses that were recently listed for sale. Well, this one in here, a B2B podcast production agency that makes $315K per year, a $101,000 per year app builder platform that you could buy for $450,000. I actually really liked this business. The only reason why I didn't make an offer on it is because I am under LOI right now. And well, beyond that, we've completed due diligence. We have a closing date scheduled for August 16th. It's currently August 10th for an online business that I included in the AcumenWire. So, I'm not just publishing this newsletter here and sending out deals. I am actively looking to acquire more online businesses myself. Now, on that note, enough rambling here. Let's jump into the 6 risks of buying an online business. We are going to start with seller expense allocations, or should I say misallocations. Okay, now what do I mean by this? Well, here's the thing that we run into often with online businesses that are owned by sellers that have multiple online businesses, and that is that they kind of absorb the costs somewhere else. They absorb it at the holdco level, or they absorb an expense, into another business. So, for example, maybe they order $10,000 worth of content writing a month, and they're really allocating, say, half of that to the business that they have for sale, so 5,000 a month. But because they're paying for that out of another account, they don't include the full amount in the P&L for the business that you're buying. They kind of massage the numbers around, and I'm hesitant to say fraudulently because I like to think optimistically that sellers would not do this fraudulently, and rather they're just kind of enamored with the numbers, and they want their numbers for the business that they're selling to look good, so they kind of start plugging them into another business. Or another example that we see is a seller has multiple businesses, and they have their support agents handle support for the business that they're selling, but they're not allocating enough expense to that in the P&L for the business that they're selling. In other words, they're saying, oh, hey, we only need 10 support agent hours a month at this business, rather than the actual 30 that it takes. The same thing could be applied to software. If the businesses all use the same underlying software cost, maybe they buy, an unlimited use license if they've got 10 WordPress websites, say, running the same theme, but you're not going to have that perk as a buyer, and you're just going to have to either pay for the one use. It's probably going to be, cheapest just to pay for the one use license for you than it would be to pay for a unlimited use license, but the cost is still going, or the expense is still going to be higher to you. Yeah. So whenever I see sellers that own multiple online businesses, this is always something that I'm going to look for. And the other thing too, that happens in this case when the seller has multiple online businesses is I want to try to figure out, why is the seller selling this business? because then that means, that they've obviously got other businesses that are doing a lot better, right? Or that they know something, right? There's some reason why they want to sell this. It's very rare that someone, is going to continue running multiple online businesses but just wants to sell one of them. And by nature, nobody is really going to sell their winning thoroughbred racehorse. They're going to sell, they're going to sell kind of the pony of the bunch. So I don't always want to be holding that card. There are bona fide reasons, but as a buyer, if I'm, speaking with a seller that clearly owns multiple online businesses, I'm going to try to figure that out, along with look for any expense misallocations. All right. Going on, next thing, a new competition. Okay, now competition is going to exist in any business, online business or not, but with online businesses, there's often very little moat around the business or low barriers to entry. So anybody can get into the business, and it's not uncommon for a business to go up for sale that's doing quite well, and it has low barriers to entry, and then people look at it, right? And then they decide, well, I'm just going to knock this off myself, and a few new ones pop up. Or in another scenario, people notice the success through advertisements of the online business and then decide to knock it off themselves. I'm going to give you an example of this here. And that was an online business I looked at within the last month that sold spreadsheet templates. Okay. And the spreadsheet templates were good, but they were nothing proprietary at all. In fact, they were simply just a PLR, private label rights item that they'd bought for like $30. They'd bought the rights to the spreadsheet that was already created, and boom, they set up a website, kind of found an advertising angle, and we're just pumping ads at it. And we're selling this spreadsheet effectively for like $20, using ads, and they were selling, a very high amount. I forget the exact number. It was close to $2 million a year with like 1.3 million in ad spend. And, you can do the math there. They were pocketing $700,000 on it. But they were hammering ads to it, namely Facebook ads. And what happens in those cases is other people like me see the ads, and they see the ads just being ran and ran and ran consistently. And then they see the social, interaction on the ads building up, hundreds or thousands of likes. And they say, okay, this thing has to be making a shit ton of money. I'm going to go out here and, find a PLR spreadsheet here and basically knock off the angle that you're using and start selling this thing myself. And then in that case, what happens is the return on ad spend effectively gets eroded away, down to zero, or sometimes negative, as people optimistically try to keep running ads. So in a business like that, where there's really no competitive advantage at all and there's no barriers to entry, it's kind of like a money grab business, and it's not very sustainable. So when you're looking at, acquiring a business, always consider, hey, are there barriers to entry? How easy is this to duplicate? Okay, and that spreadsheet business, right? You really just need, you could really bootstrap that with like less than $1,000 if you wanted to. If you've got some money, you could hire a VA to set up the whole website, customize your spreadsheet, run your ads. You're into it for a couple $1,000s at least. Not much barrier to entry to that. Going on here, customer concentration. Now, this really comes up in digital service types of businesses. Okay, so a digital service business, well, an example here I'll give you is a business that does legal writing for law firms. So the law firms outsource their legal writing needs, like writing, motions and complaints and whatever demand letters to a firm. The firm's probably outsourcing it overseas, and making money on it. Well, those businesses can be very good. The customers can be very sticky, but what can happen is the customer concentration can be very, very high. And then in this one that I'm referencing here, the example, I did look at a business, that I'm speaking from example on here. And what I found was there was one customer that was responsible for like 60% of the revenue, an incredibly high amount. So there's customer concentration. You don't so much run into this with SaaS businesses or digital product businesses. You don't really run into it a lot with e-commerce businesses, but yeah, virtual services, what am I saying here? Particularly virtual professional services like that legal writing business, you run into the customer concentration. And I will also say you run into this in lead generation businesses as well. I'm speaking from my own experience here. Um, you can run into it where a lead gen buyer buys a ton of leads, and I've kind of been in that boat myself, and I ultimately have to work to and consistently take steps to make sure that I don't build up that customer concentration, and I'm consistently working to diversify my customer concentration. You know what, I'm going to add one more thing here, so this is kind of like a bonus. I guess this kind of makes it 7. Let's duplicate that. With this, you could also say supplier concentration. Sometimes you'll run into an e-commerce business or even an affiliate business where there's only one supplier for your product, right? An example of this might be some type of item that's really hard to produce. Here's an example. I ran across a business that was selling wine storage racks using wood from New Zealand redwood trees. Okay. Well, there was really only one supplier that can make these New Zealand redwood forest tree storage racks, right? Like it has to be somebody in New Zealand that's producing it near the redwood tree forest. There's really no other supplier for it, right? So you're beholden to that supplier, and that supplier could either A, get into the market themselves and start competing with you, right? They don't need you. They could figure out how to do online retail themselves. They could partner with somebody. They could hire some type of agency, right? It's not terribly hard for them to get into that market, particularly if they see how you're doing it. If they know how your business is operating, they can say, hey, this business is selling the shit out of these by doing this. Digital marketer, go to town, knock them off. We've already got the supply line in-house, right? It's a big risk. The other risk is if you're promoting an affiliate type of product, you've got some type of content affiliate business, there could be one key affiliate out there that is generating all of your revenue or a substantial portion of that revenue. And what if that affiliate just says, hey, we're just canceling our affiliate program? And usually that is in the terms of service. They're not obligated to keep paying you out if they stop taking on new affiliates. They can just axe the whole damn thing together. And that has happened before. I can't remember any of the cases off the top of my head. That has definitely happened before to some major affiliate programs. These were not like little, peanut level affiliate programs. These were big affiliates paying out millions and millions of dollars in commission every month. And I just said, hey, we're going to cut the whole affiliate program here. And some people had a very hard time after that. All right, going on. Outdated technology. This applies a lot in apps and SaaS style businesses. What you might see is a business that has been around for several years, and the SaaS or the app has existed fundamentally in the same way for several years. And people look at it like, wow, this is incredible. It's very sticky, very lindy. The customers don't churn, the customers are happy with the product. But what you don't know, that the seller often knows, is that there's new entrants really, or new competitors coming to enter this market, and they are looking at it very seriously, and they're bringing a new and improved tech stack. And they haven't gotten traction yet, but they're coming, right? And the sellers often know this. They're ingrained in the market, so they've seen this stuff kind of happen. They've seen things start happening. They've seen some new advertisers working their way into the industry conventions. Maybe it's a past employee that's, working with this company or has started this company. They know what's coming, and they know that their tech stack is effectively going to be subpar or inferior once this new company comes to market. So they're trying to sell it. But from a buyer's perspective, you're looking at the SaaS and the app saying, wow, this looks good. The numbers look good. But in reality, there's this kind of big, rain cloud that's really coming hard, more like a tornado that's going to come very quickly and very fast into the market. It just hasn't hit yet. And ultimately, what is going to happen is, they're going to show off their great new technology, and suddenly your customers are going to be wowed by it. They're going to start jumping ship, churn rates going to increase, and ultimately, the business is going to be going to be facing a headwind unless, they go through some rigorous updates and improvements to the app and the technology. Which, mind you, if the last major update was 7 years ago, it could basically be like starting from scratch to catch up to what a new player in the market is bringing to the table. So, yeah, always consider, hey, how much updating has this technology really, really had since it kind of came to market, right? And how easy would it be for somebody to create a better technology than that and start capturing market? And then we've got inventory obsolescence. That lends itself to e-commerce by nature, right? So what happens a lot of times in e-commerce businesses is A, you have to pay for the business, then you have to pay B for the inventory that the seller wants to sell. Now we could go into a whole debate on whether the inventory should be included in the asking price or not, yada, yada, yada. But oftentimes what happens is you're ultimately going to have to pay for inventory, which is likely to be obsolete or just unsellable, right? So a seller will say, hey, we've got $300,000 of inventory, but $200,000 of it is these SKUs that just basically never sell and you're never going to sell anyways. So ultimately, you're buying this, worthless inventory. It really needs to be scrutinized what is actually selling if you're buying an e-commerce business. And finally, saving the biggest risk for last, and that is dependency on third-party platforms, otherwise known as platform risk. Okay, and we see this all throughout the online business world. Namely, here, and I always go to this first, content websites, because content websites are beholden to the platform of Google. They make their money by, getting traffic from Google that comes to their website that then they, do something with, whether that's serve display ads, serve affiliate links, or, sell a digital product or an ebook or something like that. Selling a digital product or an ebook would be good. But just doing affiliate links and ads and stuff like that is really not so good, right? Because at that point, you're really not adding much value. You're kind of a leech on a third party platform, which is Google. But a lot of online businesses, whether they're content websites, e-commerce businesses, virtual service businesses, digital product businesses, or even to a lesser extent, marketplace businesses, they become dependent on this Google traffic. So, if you do see a business that's dependent on Google traffic, one of the things you want to look at is, hey, could this business be sustainable with paid customer acquisition, advertising, right? Paying for the exposure. If the content website has a digital product or digital service they can offer, that's a really, really good start. Now, it's not just content websites that are often running into this platform risk. E-commerce businesses can run into it as well. Amazon FBA really stands out, right? They're going to be beholden to Amazon's rules and regulations. They're going to be beholden to Amazon's fees, their commission fee structure, their inventorying fee structure, and then also uh, Amazon's placements in their inventory rankings or item rankings. Like when someone searches for, best trail running shoes on Amazon, what is actually showing up? You're beholden to that. And if Amazon wants to get into producing a trail running shoe business, they just produce their line, stick it at the top of their search results, shift you down, and ultimately they just start capturing sales at that point. And that has happened in a lot of categories. Trail running shoes is probably an extreme example, but we've all seen the Amazon Basics line for things like, just plain t-shirts, pots and pans in the house, probably knives, um, sheets, towels, things like that. Amazon really got in there and cut out a lot of their sellers. So if you're looking at an Amazon FBA business, what is the risk? And I think the risk is very high that Amazon will A, change how they operate, or B, just create their own damn product and capture all of the margin out of the transaction. I think that risk is incredibly high. We've seen Amazon proactively grow the amount of products that they are producing over the years. And every time you see an Amazon basic product at the top of the charts, you got to know there's a handful of sellers that probably went damn near bankrupt or really lost a big stream of income when Amazon started producing it. In other cases, you might see a course business that generates revenue from a platform, maybe Udemy or Coursera, right? Well, if they're generating all their revenue on the platform, you have that risk of platform risk. What you need to do as a buyer is A, discount for the risk, and B, figure out ways that you can ultimately take the customer off of that platform or build your brand such that it exists without that platform risk. So, on that note, these are 6 risks to look out for if you're buying an online business. If there's anything you think that I missed, or if you have any questions on this stuff, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, if you found the video helpful and insightful, you know the drill. Smash that like button because it helps me out in the YouTube algorithms. On that note, I'm calling it a wrap and signing off on this one.